If the things that I talk about in this video apply to you or you still have questions, you may not be ready to retire. This weekend, I did a collaboration video with Rich and Robbie from Better Late Than Never, and I was one of the first people that they've talked to that didn't necessarily enjoy retirement at first. And I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. I retired, I unretired, now I'm retired again, and I want to share some of the things that I've learned with you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I do. I've mentioned before that I'm not a financial planner. I've never met with a financial planner, and I try not to give financial advice on how to retire financially. I'm giving you advice on what happened to me, and finances play a part in that. I'm going to talk about some things that you may need to be thinking of if you're thinking of getting ready to retire, and finances are the first few things that I want to mention what happened to me. The first thing is, what is your income going to be? How are you going to replace your monthly income in order to pay bills? Retired or not, there are going to be expenses that you have. Are you retiring with a pension and you know what that fixed amount is going to be monthly? Are you retiring on just Social Security and do you know what that monthly payment is going to be? Or are you retiring on investments and stocks and bonds and different types of things like that? That I'm not familiar with. I don't know how you collect money from those things and what that looks like. That's something that you would know with your financial planner if that's something that you do. But what is your income replacement going to be in retirement? Because you still will have expenses. Which leads me to making sure you've tracked your expenses for a period of time. I've always been good at tracking my expenses. I haven't liked them and I haven't been proud of decisions that I've made with my expenses, but I've always tracked them. You're going to have fixed expenses. For example, I still have a car payment and a house payment. There's health insurance. There's, what else? I have a list. Utilities. Utilities are variable. A cell phone or a home phone, those are examples of fixed. Then you're going to have your variable ones like utilities, food, gas, subscriptions, medical prescriptions, pets if you have pets. And then another category, I just call it the random category, and you can break this down however you want, but it's the entertainment category and the random Amazon spending category and your fear of missing out category where you buy stuff because you don't want to miss out on it. What are those expenses and how much are you spending that you don't even realize you're spending a month? And that's going to be shocking to some of you. Number 3, if you have large amounts of credit card debt, don't retire unless you have a plan for how you're going to pay that off or when you're going to pay that off. If you're at a retirement age or stage in your career and you have credit card debt and you have a plan for that, then that's up to you how you handle that. For me, I had credit card debt when I retired, but it was taken care of the month after I retired. Therefore, I didn't have monthly minimum payments to make on credit cards. A lot of people can't retire because once you look at your expenses, if your minimum credit card expenses exceed what you're going to bring in when you're retired, then there's just no way that you're going to be able to retire. So everybody hits me up in the comments about retiring with credit card debt and how dumb that is or whatever it is they say. And yes, I did that, but I don't have credit card debt right now. If you don't have a plan for health insurance, you're probably not ready to retire. There are a variety of ways to take care of health insurance in retirement. I don't know all of them or the exact details of insurance. I know my experience. I could have stayed on my company or school insurance and paid whatever they were paying when I was working there. I would just have to pick that up and pay for my health insurance. Or I could go to the marketplace and find an individual insurance seller and buy insurance from them, which is what I did. There's Medicare, see, I don't even know, Medicare, Medicaid, one of those things. When you get to that point, you can collect that. There are Obamacare. I don't know what it's called now. It was called Obamacare. There are Christian organizations that you can buy insurance from. Some of you I know have mentioned that you're vested and the pension, you retire with your insurance as well. And that isn't the case for me. So knowing how much and what you're going to pay for insurance. And I've said this before, I pay $531 a month for insurance. I have a $500 deductible, period. So once I met that $500 deductible with co-pays, hospital stay, prescriptions, I paid no more. So I have not been paying any medical expenses since probably February, just based on what was happening with me. I also buy dental for my family, which is $92 a month, and that's going to go on their dad's insurance in January. So my dental insurance will decrease in January. If you don't know how much taxes are going to be taken out of your retirement or whatever stream of income you choose, you might not be ready to retire. When I retired with a pension, we had to elect how much we wanted taken out of that from the state each month. So I have to fill out how much I want withheld to cover state taxes every month. And I can change that. I just have to fill out paperwork and change that. So if I've underestimated, I can change it. If I've overestimated, I changed it. I looked at my pay stub when I was working and used the number that was on my pay stub when I was working. Federal taxes come out on top. And I'm going to be honest here because I think my honesty has been the most helpful, but I had not calculated federal taxes correctly, and it was huge for me. And that was something that was unexpected. So make sure you know what all the taxes are coming out of all of the different things that you're doing. So if you have a pension, Social Security, investments, what do taxes look like in that scenario? Once you've figured those things out, do you need to supplement your retirement? The reason that I bring that up is in education, I have mentioned teachers get paid crap. So when they can retire, in the state of Missouri, I retired young. I still have time ahead of me that I can supplement my income. There used to be rules that if you were a retired teacher, you could only work 500 hours a year in a school system and still get your retirement. That changed because no one wants to be a teacher anymore, and there's a critical teacher shortage in the state of Missouri, and I think it's nationwide. Under critical teacher shortage, I can go back and teach or be a principal for 4 years and still get my retirement pension and whatever teacher's salary is. As a substitute teacher, I can substitute indefinitely. There isn't a limit on how much I can substitute. Now that brings me to the next one, which is, are there penalties in making more money when you retire based on whatever the rules are in your pension? Someone did mention in the comments that if they retire, they can't make an additional amount above and beyond something. So make sure that if you do go back to work or you do something, that there aren't penalties for that. Okay, that wraps up my the financial part. Again, I'm not a financial planner, so I'm not telling you necessarily what to do with your money. I'm telling you what's happened with me and mine. But now these are the non-financial, these are the beyond the bank account situations that might come up. And the first one is, have you talked to your family about what life is going to be like when you retire? What's it going to look like as far as you being home, you not working? If you're a married couple, I know that Rich and Robbie from Better Late Before It's Too Late mentioned they actually did a video talking about their expectations of retirement and what that's going to look like. I'm a single mom. One of my daughters moved off to college and the other one is 16 and she still lives with me. And I didn't do a very good job of explaining what retirement was going to look like, her and I together. So the first month of retirement this year, I was in panic mode, which was just because of the fear of the unknown. I didn't know what it was going to be like. So I was like laying down the law and making all these budget decisions and cutting her off of everything. And it was hard for us the first month. Well, I've gotten through 2 months. I did a video about that. It's better. I am supplementing with substituting, so I do have money for her to still do some of the things that she was doing, but I was in a panic mode. So talking to your family about what's money going to look like, and are there things that you're going to give up or things that you're not going to do anymore, and what's it going to be like if you're home all the time. I know it drives my daughter crazy when she just wants her own time and I'm just here all the time. But what's that going to look like? And then our roles going to change. If you're a husband and wife scenario, if the husband retires and the wife still works, what's the role change going to be? I know that just because I'm single, I do everything. I know some women do laundry and cleaning and cooking and all the things. So if the husband retires, what are the expectations when that happens? Is the wife still going to work or vice versa? And the spouse has retired to golf or have a hobby or travel or something like that. So I think having those conversations are super important. Have you talked to people who have gone before you? And this is an interesting topic to bring up with people. I feel like a lot of people will not tell you the truth. Some people really do enjoy retirement and it is the greatest thing that's ever happened to them, and they've saved tons of money and are living their best life. Other people are in retirement and they're scrimping and they can't do anything. They're just a prisoner of their own home, but they like it. That's what they wanted. So I guess thinking about, have you talked to those people and what do those people say about retirement and the money? People were not honest with me. I had one friend that was honest with me about retirement that said, it's more than just the money. There's gonna be some things that come up that are mental and emotional that you're not going to be ready for, and the loneliness and the unknown. Is this the rest of my life? Asking people if they'll be honest about that. I'll be honest with you about that stuff. But what do other people, maybe in your field or around you, that have retired? Another thing is, none of my friends are retired. Sorry, the dog's going to be in the rest of this video. None of my friends are retired. All of my friends are still working. I do have a couple of friends that are retired that I hang out with. Not many of my friends are retired. So find people that are and ask them what it's really like and see if they'll be honest with you about all the things. This is number 10 on my list. I'm not sure where I am. I'll have to edit it back to see where I really am, but this is number 10. And are you ready for your social circle to change? And do you know how your social circle is going to change? I'm okay with the change in my social situation. I kind of needed a break. I felt like I was overly social, gone all the time, around people all the time. So I've enjoyed having a little bit of a break from social activities, and there's just the right amount for me. But if you are an extrovert and a social person and you get your energy from being around people, you might not be ready to retire unless you have a plan for the change in your social circle. What can you do in retirement that you can't do while you're working? Something I've thought of a lot is, one of my retirement dreams is that I want a boat. Well, obviously I can have a boat and still work, because in my mind, boating is like for the weekends where you take all your friends and family with you to go. If everybody's working, there's no point in me having a boat during the week if I'm just waiting for the weekend to spend Saturday and Sunday at the lake. Or what can you do in retirement that you can't do right now? Or is there something? Make a list of those things. If you think you're going to miss it, you're not ready. I miss the people and the fun parts of my job as an elementary principal, I miss that a lot. I miss what being a principal used to be. What being a principal became was not what I signed up for. When I did my critical shortage principal position, where I filled in for a principal last year, I loved having a change of districts and schools and a change of people. And maybe that's what I could have done earlier and then stayed in the position longer, or maybe not. I think about that and I think I was still doing some of the things that I didn't sign up for when I became a principal years ago. So keep those things in mind as well. What are you going to miss? Are you going to miss being a teacher? Are you going to miss being an engineer? What about that are you going to miss? And if you're going to miss too much, you're not ready. This one is a little bit different than talking to the people that you live with, but what are your relationships going to look like? What relationships are you in? What is the relationship with your children going to be? I wanted to build a stronger relationship for my kids, and that's one of my reasons for retirement is I've put work ahead of everything for so long that retirement allows me to put my kids first. Are you married? What's your marriage relationship going to look like? I know you hear stories about people retire and then they're home with each other and decide they don't like each other and then they're not married anymore. So what's your relationship going to look like? What is your relationship with your extenuating family going to look like? For example, my relationship with my mom. I could go visit my mom more often because I'm retired. However, it's a long drive and I do still have kids at home. And what's your relationship with your friends going to look like? Because you're going to have to nurture those and you're going to have to be the one to reach out. If you're the one that's retired and they're not retired, you may have to put in more effort because their lives have gone on and they're busy. You're the only one that has more time on your hand. Your coworkers still have the same amount of time that they had in the end. My bonus thought or my last question is, I think we take for granted, or I did, why I wanted to retire. I think maybe I wanted to quit. I didn't necessarily want to retire. So work and getting a job may still be in my future. Actually, I am substitute teaching, so I am working a little bit, but I may go back to a 9-to-5 or I may go back to a full-time job. What's your why? And does your why exceed however many 30 years that you have left or longer? What are you going to do for all of those years? Is this what I want to do for the next 30 years? I know you can't predict what's going to happen and anything can happen, but the biggest thing is your why in retirement and why do you want to do it? That's a wrap, and if you stayed until the end, I still struggle with endings to my YouTube videos and I'm not sure how to end them. I created a free digital retirement journal. It's just a blank notebook that you download to your iPad and you can just write on it like a notebook. And it's just where you can put some of your thoughts and dreams about retirement. I'll put a link to that down in the description. And I'm also creating a Beyond the Bank Account retirement journal that's going to have questions and prompts for you to think about before you retire or if you're at the beginning of your retirement. So you can find those down in the links below. See you next video.